components, key actors in collective security. And like I said, we also have the informal sector where the vigilantes come in. They've been of immense help. You know how much the civilian JTF has been of help to the multinational joint task force headquartered in Northeast, Operation Lafia Dole,
particularly in the fight against insurgency
and insurgency, banditry, and the rest.
Yes.
Currently called Operation Hadinkai, the civilian JTF has been of immense help. You cannot quantify how much of help they've been. They've also paid the supreme price as well. So all of this, including Neighborhood Watch, some communities in Akwa Ibom, for instance, have resorted to paying vigilantes to watch over. Some come out themselves, share themselves to watch over their community. It is part of the collective efforts. Because when they make arrests, for instance, they need to proceed to the next level of handing over to security agency for further investigations and prosecution. So all of these efforts is geared towards the same goal, the safety of lives and property. And we recognize the efforts of everyone, even those of you whose efforts have not been publicly acknowledged. We want to say we recognize that you are there. The little effort you put in place help us keep our society better.
Okay, that's it, at least explicit and clear enough. Now let's look at the issue, because every crime has a start point. A start point, by start point I mean the minutest spots perhaps in a locality. What has been the efforts of Neighborhood Watch? Now let's look at the facts that they're supposed to have certain levels of awareness, they're supposed to have exposure, they're supposed to have training, such that even if an individual within the Neighborhood Watch is carrying out its function, he wouldn't be detected, and then there wouldn't be some effort to deter him from doing that by the criminals or would-be criminals. Do you have a special program where you interact and then you give them the basis of having to perform their duty properly?
All right, thank you. Akwa Ibom, for instance, has a neighborhood security watch that was put in place by the current state governor of Akwa Ibom State. And before they kick-started their operations, they were subjected to basic training.
Okay.
Because information is power, knowledge is power. What makes someone knowledgeable about his job or to be called an expert or a professional is the amount of knowledge they've taken in. So they have, we have the onus of ensuring that they have basic knowledge of what security is all about. Aside what security is all about, they also need to have basic knowledge of the provisions of the law.
Okay.
They also need to have basic knowledge of the duties and responsibilities, what we call core mandates of different security agencies, so that when you are dealing with a situation or a scenario and you encounter a particular kind of crime, you know which agency to deal with, because their responsibility ends after arrest. They are free to arrest, just like every citizen have the right to arrest, after which they hand over to the appropriate agency to conclude on investigation and take further action with regards to prosecution. So they need to have all of this basic knowledge, and then also go through physical fitness training, which is one of the things that every security agent in the country goes through. They may not go through it in detail.
Yeah, that's the rigorous.
Because I didn't also go through it in the same detail as a military officer.
Okay.
I go through for the level that is required for my job, while I receive other training, advanced training to help me function well. So by and large, they've had to go through some training, especially with the police. They've had to learn the rudiments of law. They've had to learn the basics of fundamental human rights, Chapter 4 of the Nigerian Constitution. Very, very important. That's in doing your in carrying out your responsibility, you do not need to infringe on the rights of Nigerians, because you exist to protect them and not to infringe on their rights. And they are quite clear, from right to life, dignity. You don't want to treat someone like as if they are not humans. Freedom of movement, except when we have curfews or state of emergencies. You do not want to unnecessarily impinge on someone's right to move from one place or the other. So they've taken basic training on all of this. But what I would like to add to the authorities' concern is just like it is done for security agents. We take refresher courses from time to time. As a matter of fact, you do not progress into certain cadre in the job without going through some courses. I want to also encourage those who manage them to organize courses from time to time to bring them up to speed, update them with latest trends. If there are new policy guidelines for security agents, they also should be made to be aware, because ignorance is not an excuse before the law. They need to be aware first and foremost, so that when they are found wanting, they will not be. It will be because they were previously aware that such guideline exists. So basically, they take the basic training, but I want to encourage that it should be a continuous exercise as it is done with other agencies.
Okay, we'll take a break now. Very interesting, collective security. When we return, you will tell us why we need collective security and why everybody should support the effort.
Safety is everybody's business, whether on our roads, homes or offices. But achieving maximum safety everywhere is more than just mentioning. Tune into the program Safety and Security Watch, a live studio phone-in program on NTA Channel 12 for you, your dependable station on StarTimes Channel 103, and our social media platforms on Facebook and YouTube for highlights, updates, and tips on safety matters by the professionals every Friday by 10:30 a.m. Safety and Security Watch. Safety first.
Welcome back. Glad to know you're still there. We are here talking collective security. Yes, before the break, you talked about the issue of updating them. That is the need for individuals who are supporting the security agencies to be updated in terms of training, awareness, and then capacity building. Now let's look at why we need collective security. Why do we, as a society, as a country, need collective security?
All right, thank you. We need it not. Okay, let me say we need it because we do not really have much of a choice than to embrace it. It's been proven that it is the best form of approach to security, where you make every component a stakeholder. They have a stake in the security of the society.
Okay, maybe a component, maybe like the community leaders,
opinion leaders, village heads,
okay,
corporations.
Yes, maybe like the youth presidents.
Okay. As a matter of fact, youth presidents are very key in the collective security system, because when we have issues like someone is wanted for a crime and they are trying to abscond, one of those who have always helped security agencies to apprehend these criminals have been youth leaders. They've been helpful a lot. Both youth leaders, village head, chairman of village councils,
yes,
leaders of thoughts, yes, civil societies, community-based organizations. They are all key component of the collective security, and they have roles to play, from intelligence gathering to giving support. We know the challenge of logistics, yes, facing almost every security agencies at different levels. But for support that we receive from corporations, organizations, communities who put in not just physical efforts but logistic efforts, knowing that, seeing that the challenge security agencies face within their domain is real. It's real. You expect them to do this much, and you look at the requirement to do that much, and you can see physically that it's not there or it's not up to. And we've had some of them come up with logistic support, and it has also helped. the more you have support in the community, the more secure that community is. And that is why we say collective security is non-negotiable. It's been proven to be the best. So when you have all of these hands come to the deck, crime automatically reduces to a manageable level. This is the key reason why we need collective security. Research has proven that the all people's approach to security is a very effective approach.
Okay, sometimes you are maybe driving or walking on the road, and then for certain reason you see somebody approach you, an unknown person. I mean, that has happened several times, and will tell you, please sir, don't go to that spot. You know, is there any kind of working relationship between security agencies with people like that, or is it just like maybe an act of volunteering or their own part in ensuring that the society is safe?
We don't necessarily need to have relationship with every part of society, because we will not be able to relate with every individual member of the society. We will be able to relate with organized groups. That's where CBOs, community-based organization, CSOs, which have always been very useful. But there is a civic responsibility.
Okay.
And that's a compulsory subject in our early school years.
Yes.
Civic responsibility. Every member of a society all over the world have basic civic responsibility to see something and say something, to caution when something is wrong,
yes,
to call attention of wrongdoers to wrongdoings. Yes. It's a civic responsibility. You see that a place is dangerous and someone is going towards that place, you can call the attention to it, warn them of the danger in such a place, yes, especially when it's not well lit, especially when there are no security deployment close by. And there's potential for harm to take place.
Sometimes the person could even be a stranger.
Definitely, it could be a stranger. Not everyone has local knowledge, which is one of the things we work with as security.
Yes, even residents of some areas may not have a local knowledge of what is even transpiring there.
Absolutely. So for those who know, calling the attention of fellow citizens to such is a civic responsibility. You don't have to be paid for it. As a matter of fact, you should take pleasure in doing it. You may not be able to quantify it in monetary terms, yes, but you might have just saved a life.
You know, I raised that actually because there's a certain day, it was about 8 p.m. and then just standing on the road, a junction to pick the next tricycle home, somebody bumped into me on purpose. Actually, I knew, and then claimed I, ran into him and didn't tell him sorry and everything. I had to be cautious because I've heard such stories beforehand, and then thankfully somebody came out, a woman tapped me and then whispered, please don't argue with him, his people are here. Now we are looking at such a scenario whereby in such spots, for instance, wouldn't it be possible for the security agencies to at least establish presence there? Now, having in mind that in most cases, very busy areas of any place, whether town or villages, are susceptible to criminal activities.
Thank you very much. A very valid point. And the recent policy statement of Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to redirect the focus of the Nigerian police to cover more spaces in the society has been widely commended for this reason you have made. If you look around now, you have more police presence in every nook and cranny of the states.
That's it.
And that automatically helps with that scenario you raised.
Yeah.
But let's assume we do not have police presence. For citizens, you want to take note that when we are in certain places and you are arguing, you want to pay attention to environments. It is very important. You want to see the kind of person you are having that kind of altercation with. You want to look around if he has accomplices. Look at his eyes. Is he doing high communication with other people? You can tell if he's giving signal by paying attention to his eyes. And if you notice that there's no reason to continue arguing with such a person, because you will be outnumbered. Having said that, like I said earlier, we now have more police presence in different parts of our society. Roads that never had any police points, checkpoints, or what we call location or beats, we now have them multiplied all across the states. That means the police is now a stone throw away from you. The nearest police is now a stone throw away from you, and that's a very good development that we believe will ensure that the larger society is safer for the larger number of people.
Okay, before you take your leave, earlier in the program you talked about the issue of logistics being a key problem to responding to crime or criminal activities, given the fact that sometimes you may need to actually move and you may not have the capacity to do so. Let's look at, just a word of appeal or an appeal to relevant government agencies. It's not, it's never too bad asking too much, at least the technique of Oliver Twist, because if you have that, why not? Your job will be easier, and then of course you will break more grounds when it comes to combating criminality.
Yes, thank you very much. Logistic issue has been a major issue that has affected the optimum performance of not just the Nigerian police, but almost every other security agencies in the country. If you need to respond on time, you need to be ready. You need to have both man, money, and material. The manpower, the vehicles, and money for fuel for you to move. You do not have to wait for those who have called you to come and give you money before you can move. And 2-3 years ago, for instance, you could fill up the tank of a Helios with, say, less than 15,000. Today, that same amount will get you 15 liters. Quite a number of Helioses are 6-plug engines. 15 liters cannot do so much. So one appeal I would like to make will be, whatever was the situation in terms of logistic support can be reviewed, knowing full well that the times have changed. The times have changed in terms of value, especially for fuel. Fuel is key to security movement, just as vehicle is key. So if we have the availability of vehicles and fuel to move around, you can have more patrol, you can have faster response. With the command and control center coming up soon, these are issues that need to be looked at so that we can have a symbiotic and a coordinated approach to solving our security situation.
Okay, thank you so very much. Once again, Ekerete Friday, the Public Relations Officer, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense School, Akwa Ibom State Command, for finding time to be here. It's been a great year of fulfillment, and of course, we stay on the pride of the states that Akwa Ibom State is one of the safest in the country. I mean, if not the safest, as a matter of fact. But let's look at the facts that you have done so well, your security organization and others, and I want to use this opportunity to thank every security organization in the states that has helped to make this state safe and secure. And we hope that you'll take this message back to your command so that more can be done in that regard. Thank you so very much once again.
It's always a pleasure to be
here. We hope to have more of you come next year, God willing. We know that you'll always be here when we call or we reach out to you. Thank you so very much. You talked to us exclusively on collective security, and we know that we've learned a great deal, having in mind that security is everybody's business. My name is Okunben. Thank you for being part of the program till now. As the man, a popular proverb in my place says that a tree cannot make a forest. I want to acknowledge the effort of everybody here at cameramen our engineers, my boss, Mr. Ayu Asukwo, the general manager, for always facilitating this program. The assistant director, Niels Okwopinyo, has been a turning point in my life as far as broadcasting is concerned. I acknowledge your efforts and advice, sir. And for any other person that has contributed here, thank you so very much. Bye-bye. See you next year.